I love that we went into this movie saying, don't worry, we'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post, and it took a lot of hours to do that.
Yeah.
But you handled most of that, so thank you.
I don't know if I'm going to recover mentally for a while, but yeah, I see a lot of pixels in my sleep, and every time I blink. 27 days ago, we began pre-production on an 8-minute short film that we are scheduled to finish by day 28. So today, we'll be discussing some of the snags that we hit in post-production.
How would you handle DIY After Effects emergencies late at night and on the weekends?
Well, how would you take a musical thought and turn it into a fully polished and produced piece of music without any budget and very little time?
And what's a third question that would pique your interest in listening to this episode?
Welcome to Indie Film Podcast. I'm Victoria.
And I am Chuck. Why don't we start with the DIY After Effects emergencies? Victoria, do you want to explain what you did for our short film in After Effects and how you handled questions that you encountered when it was late at night or on the weekend and you had no budget to pay people for their expertise?
You know, I honestly think for anyone that's watching as well as listening, I think the props here at the front of the table, I think they perfectly explain what we did.
Yes.
With this film.
If you're listening, then you can't see it. We have a dragon toy, Dungeons and Dragons dragon toy,
Yes.
or not a toy, I guess. What would they be called?
They're called miniatures.
Miniatures,
They're miniatures.
yes. A lamp, a dice jail, and then some miniatures. One of them we bought painted, and then 3 of them our friend Sam painted.
Along with the dragon, too. She painted the dragon and the treasure chest. So anything that has been hand painted there is all thanks to Sam. So
Yes.
Thanks again, Sam, for doing that all in 2 days.
It was excellent. So the theme of the film is Dungeons and Dragons. It's a musical
Yes.
as well, and it has some political undertones.
Yes.
So-
But for After Effects, we decided that since it's a game, we would have all of the battle sequences, if you will, take place in an 8-bit world.
Yes.
And that meant animating them all. And originally, we'd done a test where we tried Premiere's new, their AI object mask tool.
Yes.
And it worked pretty well. It wasn't flawless or anything, but it worked. And we were able to overlay us testing out a little fight sequence onto was it Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? Or
It was a Street Fighter and then also Mario level.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. And it worked. Okay. It was fine. And it was all in Premiere, so it was all super fast, and that was really cool.
Yeah, and then you went to do the first quote-unquote auto rotoscope shot in Premiere.
And it's not as flawless as we had hoped. There is a lot of promise in that tool, and I will say it did come in handy for a couple of the scenes that we were using. But I don't think that tool is 100% there yet.
It's not ready for prime time.
It's not. If you have a longer sequence or you have intricate movements or anything like that, you should probably just go to After Effects and rotoscope it.
Yes.
Which we
is
did.
What you ended up having to do for everything.
Yes.
And you built an 8-bit world around the character. So this film takes place about 50% in real life and then 50% in this 8-bit world.
Yeah.
And you built the 8-bit world around them.
Yes.
And you've never done anything like that in After Effects before.
No.
So how did you handle the After Effects emergencies that you ran into?
Well, I have used After Effects in the past, so I wasn't too worried about, how hard can it be? You just hop in there, and I understand, the compositions and like parenting layers and linking things. Like, I know enough. I'll be fine. No. After Effects is... Wow, there is so much you can do in After Effects,
It's
though.
a beast.
And I have learned a lot.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, give yourself a project like this if you want to learn After Effects really fast. Because I do feel a lot more comfortable in that platform now. So I feel like that's a big win.
Oh, good.
But the number one thing that helped was I was going through and I had these ideas in mind of what I wanted the world to do. And I know that After Effects can do it because I think once upon a time I had done a tutorial or something and seen that effect there. So I know After Effects can do it, but I don't know where that is. And I will say I was blown away because I'm not a huge fan of AI. I think it has its place.
For sure.
But the Gemini, just Google's Gemini, you can just ask it, hey, how comfortable are you with the After Effects library of effects and which ones would be the right ones to do this kind of effect?
Yeah.
And it just comes back with a list of all the effects, because I don't know if you've ever tried scrolling through all the different effects and generations and distortions and things that are in After Effects, but that is a huge library.
Yeah.
Awesome that it's a huge library, but wow, there is a lot there. And this way, it just serves you up the top 3 or 4 that'll work for you, and you can just go test them really fast instead of trying to go through and test each individual effect and see if it will work.
Yeah.
So I will say, though, that some of the rules, I guess, of this particular festival are that no generative AI can be used. I think that usage of AI was following the law to the spirit, because I definitely went in and did all of this myself.
For sure.
However, I did technically use it. The good news is that the person who runs this festival is actually a listener of the podcast.
Yeah.
So thanks, Cody, for putting this festival on. But also, if we're disqualified, let us know.
Yeah. We're happy with the final product.
Yeah,
anyway,
either way.
So
Yeah.
we'll be sending it off to film festivals depending on exactly how the screening goes and what we think, whether or not we find the film festivals for the audience for this. But, we're pretty happy with how it all turned out. Everybody did a great job.
No, the music is incredible. The music is absolutely just, it's so wild to hear it because it sounds so good. Not because I'm surprised based on who was working on it, but more that how did it come together that fast?
Yeah, and I can go over that a little bit.
I was kind of hoping that you would.
I was present just to kind of share with everybody the starting point. I took a little excerpt of the music that I recorded strumming my guitar and singing into my phone, and then we have a finalized version of those same couple bars.
Yeah.
And I'll play that for all of you right now. Here is the original idea that I had.
Give me control, elect me dungeon master. You finally have the friendship you're after. Strict rules, clean order, everyone in line with a simple yes. I'll bring your party to life.
And to be fair, that is what we sent off to all of the actors originally.
Correct.
So they were starting to study that.
Mm-hmm.
And so in just 48, 72 hours, it shifted into...
Yeah, this is the actual final version, but Jesse recorded some ideas. Jesse Blake Rundle, he's been on an episode of this podcast before. Great songwriter, great musician. He heard that and then came up with some alterations. And then we brought in Mike Harris and we brought in John Chevelle, and they added parts to it as well as the final vocals. So This is what's actually playing in the musical itself.
A little different.
Slightly.
Give me control, elect me dungeon master. And finally you'll have the friendship that you're after. With a simple yes, I'll bring your party to life.
So when we sat down to do the initial contemplating of what to do with these musical thoughts that I had, it was nice, one, to know local musicians. And I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, that my brother and I made friends with the local music community by offering to do videography services for them, essentially. It helped us learn how to run our cameras, and it gave them assets that they could use. And we ended up making a lot of friends because the music and the film creativity realm is heavily overlapping. Yeah. And we talked about that in the episode with Jesse Blake Rundle. But so we've collaborated on projects together. When you and I went to Jesse with this idea, and we also went to my friends Mike and John with this idea. They were like, sure, we'd love to help, because this is an idea that we like, we're excited about it, and creatives tend to volunteer on creative projects versus like commercial ones. So we sat down, took a listen to the music. You were there as well, Victoria.
Yeah.
As well as my brother, and then these 3 musicians, and we just kind of broke it down. We decided that, clarinet is going to be with the devil. The cello is going to be featured with the devil. And then the main character, Aaron, is going to have guitar everybody's going to be singing their own vocals. We got lucky because, Victoria, you've directed musicals before.
Yes. So that came in handy.
Yeah, we cast Jesse as the lead.
Yeah.
And then your three connections, your three friends and actors came in.
Yeah.
And they are excellent vocalists.
And for those of you who are not yet sure if you want to see this final project, let me sell you on the final thing. Chuck is actually appearing as a character in this film as well.
Yeah, that's exactly why everybody wants to watch this.
I think so.
They want to see me run around as an armed guard in an 8-bit world. Yes, that is a feature. But fortunately, with your friends coming in, as well as Jesse being able to sing, I wouldn't say that I'm a great singer. I have melodies in my head. Jesse has better ones. He was able to write the melody that you heard there. He knew when to draw it out, when to speed it up.
Yeah.
Obviously, time was a limitation too, because we had to write all this music in under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We ended up with just over 8 minutes, which I felt like was a safe buffer.
Yeah.
If we're trying to make a movie under 10.
Exactly.
And we still ended up keeping it right in that timeline. It'll probably be under 9 minutes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, once all the final credits and everything are in there, because of course it's due tomorrow, so we still have to do the credits.
Yes, just credits left, but everything else is looking and sounding. I'm really happy with all of it.
Yeah.
And I guess to answer the question, what do you do if you're trying to polish music in a limited amount of time and no budget? The only way to really do that is to have the skill sets yourself, or you need to be well connected with some people, exchange favors, or be involved. The most important thing is be involved in the creative projects in your community.
Yeah, I would say that's even more important. Is obviously, yes, having talented friends helps. These miniatures would not have been painted without just me having a friend who's talented.
Correct.
But you can make those friends at any point in your life. And you can make them by going out, getting involved in the community, inserting yourself into new places, meet new people. It's very seldom that people wake up in the morning and say, boy, I hope I don't meet someone interesting and fun that I can work with on cool projects later today.
Yeah.
Like that's not generally how that's not how I wake up. I guess I shouldn't assume for other people, but
yeah, and be assertive about crossing some of those boundaries as far as creative outlets.
Yeah.
Because like the music film thing, very similar. Even your friend she can paint, she can create art.
Oh, she's done props
projects
for my musicals in the past too. Like she's just a really talented artist, and she's actually really excited about working in film more, and she thinks it's fun.
Yeah.
So when it's little asks like this, it's not, well, I guess I don't know if it's saying, hey, can you paint these 5 items in 2 days?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a little ask, but
well, yeah, but she did a great job.
She did.
And there was no small asks of any of our friends to help us out with this project.
No.
Which on the next episode, we're going to break down exactly how much everything cost on this quote unquote zero budget production.
Yeah.
And hopefully have an idea of, we still need to calculate how many hours everybody put in. So that if you did want to make a budget, we could estimate how much that might have cost. Because nothing is ever actually zero budget. But,
no.
If you find enough people that are willing to work on projects and you help out on enough of other people's projects, you'll be able to hopefully get some of your ideas made.
Yeah. And I will say, in addition to being willing to, exchange favors and go help somebody else out on their set for free.
Yeah.
That's obviously a good way to build connections. And, if we didn't work with Christy and Lee here so much, I don't know if we would have had a gaffer /BCam /AD
for sure.
/script supervisor /PA / how many other things did they do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we would have had that. But when you go onto those sets, that's just an opportunity to meet even more people.
Correct. Yeah.
And make more connections. So I feel like, volunteering is worth it.
Yeah. If you're trying to get your own things made, absolutely. Yeah. If you're out there and you're trying to make a name for yourself for paid gigs within a specific section of the filmmaking realm, then, maybe not. Yeah. Maybe that's not what you want to do. But, it's hard to find people in the film community that don't want to do the writing and directing aspect of things.
Yes.
Right? I do have a moment of humility that I would like to share with everybody. So
I forgot that was the sound effect for that.
record scratch.
For some reason, I thought it was like a
Oh, no, I don't have I do have one of those, but I don't know why I went with record scratch.
I feel like it works.
We can update it if we need to.
Let us know.
Yeah. The moment of humility I want to have is something that you actually shared online previously that we cut into a vertical video that got a bunch of really angry people commenting on it. And I just want to say that in certain cases, the director's job can be heavily overrated. And
that's right. This time Chuck said it.
Yes.
I didn't say it. I kept my mouth shut. I don't want to hear people yelling at me in the comments about it. I didn't say it this time.
Yeah, if you are surrounded by a talented cast and a talented crew of people, a director's job is not very difficult. And we got into this short film post-production, and like obviously the days shooting on set went so smoothly because everybody that was acting, Jesse, Nico, Sammy, and Brock, all of our
Adrian.
and Adrian, yeah, all of our performers were off book.
Yeah.
And had everything memorized.
Even though the music was obviously being updated during the week
up to
prior to
72
shooting.
hours before.
Yeah.
So the only thing we had to rehearse was blocking on set. We split duties. I took care of crew and lighting stuff, and you took care of all the blocking with the actors. Got on set, everybody learned their blocking really quickly because they're used to doing this because they do musical theater.
Which is another reason, get actors. Like, it's so easy to call your friends, and if you only have your friends to call and ask to step in, absolutely, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But, man, actors are just used to this.
Yes.
And they do it all the time.
It moves a lot more smoothly.
Yeah.
And then they obviously had interpretations of the characters that they brought to the table for us. So on set, obviously things worked really smoothly. Post-production, for me, because I was in charge of sound effects, essentially, on this project.
Yeah.
Normally I do location sound. I didn't record any location sound. And I felt like my hands were tied as far as you taking care of everything on After Effects, because it just kind of like bottlenecked there because you wanted to create the virtual worlds. You have more experience in After Effects than I do. I'm very basic. Like I can do like some title movement things, and I've done a couple tutorials, but you've done some more advanced stuff. And then we went to polish the music, and essentially Jesse was our music supervisor, as you would title it in film. So we brought the musicians in to record, which were just basically, he had recorded himself.
Yeah.
And then we brought in Mike and John to play clarinet and to play cello. And they just kept coming up with ideas.
And
so
glorious.
I was standing there listening to what was going on, and I'm like, that's really good. You know? And they'd say, well, what do you think about this? And then I would say, well, what do you think?
So
and they would answer the question, and it's like, you know, what is something that you want out of this? And then people just shared that because we know and trust all these people.
Yeah.
And they did what they wanted to do, and it all came together as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Which I can see how a director's job could be very difficult if you're working in a corporate environment.
In a corporate environment, or honestly, even just a really large production where there are a lot of opinions that you do want to hear and you do respect, but also you have a timeline and a budget and a vision to stick to because there are 18 other departments that are depending on you keeping this vision the same.
Yeah.
So if you change, I don't know, with a bigger budget, you know what? I can tie this back to the little magic lamp here.
Yeah.
Much like a genie that has great power, it is all tied to a specific lamp. And I feel like the bigger budget projects, you sort of get caught in that.
Yeah.
So for something that is very fluid, and as a director, if you are willing to keep your mind open to, let's see where this goes, let's play with this, I like that idea, I want to hear your thoughts, you do get a little bit more of that space to create and a little bit more freedom. And I think probably better end results because it's a little bit more collaborative and it's cool.
Sure.
But when you're on a bigger budget thing and your art department is set on one specific thing if your, gaffer comes to you and says, hey, actually, we had some thoughts around changing up the entire lighting sequence for this. It'll, take an extra 2 days to get everything set up and all the gear and everything that we need for it, but I think we should go for it. And then your art department's like, no, you can't change everything to red lights. All the text is in red on their T-shirts and you can't read it now. Or I don't know. That is a really weird, specific example I came up with there, but I'm hoping that it gets the point across.
A nebulous, complicated example. No, I think I've been on a set where that exact same situation has happened, where art department was fisticuffs with gaffing.
It comes down to it sometimes. I'm sure.
Those two departments, they're mortal enemies.
I hope that one day they can repair the bonds that were broken.
I guess with indie film, I feel like the director's job can be difficult, obviously. In our case, when we surround ourselves with talented people that have their own ideas, and you don't want to get in their way, then it makes things operate much more smoothly, and it makes the final creative project a lot better.
Yeah.
And I could see a couple situations where directing would be difficult, where it wouldn't be a necessarily a good outcome, and maybe that's because the director is trying to funnel their vision through someone else, which as a creative person myself, and I feel like you're the same way, if I want something done in a specific way, I'm not going to reach out to somebody to get their input. I'm going to do it myself. Right?
Yeah.
Versus, some directors might be more comfortable trying to get that out of someone. But at the same time, as a creative person, I don't necessarily jump at those opportunities to do someone else's work for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't excite me as much. If somebody's like,
really?
Well, I think that's the same for everybody, right? So that's something to consider. And then obviously, like indie film sets, some of them get huge. I wouldn't want to juggle a whole bunch of people. And I understand now why like Stanley Kubrick, even back in the day, worked with limited crew and limited cast, because it's so much easier to get.
It's a little easier to manage. It's a little easier to communicate your vision and get everybody on the same page, because it's not going through 500 filters first of, different tiers and levels of people.
For sure.
So that does help.
And if you have directors that know how to run the camera like you do, right? Or if you have directors that do know how to gaff, or, you have people that can run between different crew situations and help out in a lot of, you don't need a huge crew then.
No.
And the cast is only as big as you write it. So. Anyway.
Actually, I also have a moment of humility as well. But before I get to that, there is one thing. Oh.
There we go. You get your own record scratch.
I get my own record scratch. Though I feel bad because I'm going to say one other thing that's also kind of important. So record scratch, stop. Today, we're actually going to be doing a live recording of this with the runner of Film Fort.
Oh, we're going to do a live indie film podcast. Yes. So if you're in the Boise area and you're listening to this early in the morning,
and you would like to come check out a live episode recording, come down to Boise Contemporary Theater. We're recording from 2 to 2:45, and we're interviewing the runner of Film Fort, which is the film festival part of Tree Fort Music Fest.
Yeah.
And Thomas is great and is willing to come on and chat with us. And we're so excited to get to dive more into film festivals and how they work and the judging process and submissions. And it should be a really good time. So if you're here in the area, come see us live today.
It's a part of Tree Fort, but you do not need a wristband.
You do not. It is free. The only thing you have to find is parking downtown, preferably near Fulton Street, since that's where Boise Contemporary Theater is.
Good luck on that one.
It'll be fine.
Tree Fort is mayhem. Plus, it's on Thursday.
Yeah.
So, you might want to figure out the ride situation, but it'll be fun if you're in walking distance. Just pop in. It should be good. A little bit of BTS in the film festival world.
Yeah.
Rather than just the film making stuff that we talk about.
So hopefully we'll learn some stuff about where we end up submitting Chaotic Evil, as it's tentatively titled, and we'll probably stay that way unless we come up with something better in the next 10 hours.
There we go. So, limited time.
Yeah.
What's your moment of humility?
My moment of humility is label your files well and pay attention to them in the timeline.
Oh, because you changed the edit here recently this morning.
I did. Because we had already been through picture lock. We've gotten sound effects set. Everything was pretty well locked in when I realized that I had used a wrong take And I don't know why I thought it was more believable because it was actually that song clip that you played.
Yeah.
That was our tracking gimbal shot. That was one of the complicated ones. So it was the first one that we shot. So we wanted to get that one out of the way early. And it was just completely out of focus. I just missed focus entirely. And I was so embarrassed and hoping that maybe I can run this through Topaz or some other platform or something to try to fix this and sharpen it up a little bit if I have time.
And I was looking right over your shoulder and we rewatched it on set. And I remember thinking, I thought the last take we got was in focus, but we didn't have a monitor for it. We were just watching on the back of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. And you never know with those tiny monitors. It could be completely out of focus or just enough out of focus that when you blow it up, you realize you missed it.
That you can see their nose really well, but their eyes are a little blurry.
Oops.
My bad.
That was a creative choice.
Yes, definitely.
I wanted you to anticipate something flying out of their nose.
Yeah, the mystery is in the eyes, so it's got to be blurry. No.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, so we went all the way through. It was during the color grade that I noticed that there was one more take.
Oops.
That I just dropped the wrong take.
You actually nailed the focus on that one.
I did. But
so no need for Topaz AI.
No, thank goodness. I don't have to use that because I have a feeling that would just be a monster and very, very huge time suck to try to render it through that. But that was a nice little confidence boost. But also, I can't believe that I thought it was more likely that, nope, I just completely missed focus than I grabbed the wrong file and dropped it in the timeline.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, it happens. And I realized it would have been nice to get some location sound on some of those insert shots that I didn't get while we were filming.
The first time that Chuck has ever said, no, we don't need location sound.
I didn't follow my own rules.
Yeah.
And that's happened sometimes, but I got sidetracked in working with the actors and helping with the shot design. And the one thing that made me suffer through was that I had to go then again and recreate all the Foley. And that's just, it's something. It's not like the most exciting thing to do, but I got to test out some new equipment, which was nice. I got to use they're not a sponsor, but I got to use my Zoom H5 Studio handy recorder, which is actually supposed to have better XY microphones on it and good preamps. And rather than hauling all my location sound gear from this studio into the living room, I just put the handheld recorder on top of a tripod and it sounded good. These are very subtle sound effects, so the score is playing throughout the entire film essentially, but we just wanted to make sure that like the dice rolling had dice rolling sound, and obviously like people like that were making big movements, we wanted to have, if they were tapping on something or clicking, we wanted to have that represented. But
opening and closing a door, maybe you should hear the door.
Somebody knocking, definitely going to need that.
That one was important.
Yeah, and I could have gotten a canned sound of that, but usually it's too close, so I set my XY mic like way back into the room, knocked on the door, and it sounds like it's coming from a distance, as it should. But the
review of the recorder, it worked. It worked?
Oh yeah, it worked great. It worked great. It's not for location sound because it doesn't have good file naming conventions.
Oh.
But the quality was good, and it's tiny. So
portable, easy to use.
Anyone's used those really tiny handheld recorders, they're always so noisy that if you're recording something that's quiet, then when you try to turn it up in post, all you're going to get is that preamp noise.
Oh.
And that's the problem with like the inexpensive Tascam units and the inexpensive Zoom units. Usually those are like most of the H series. If you turn it up too loud, all you hear is this hiss.
Yeah.
And that hiss is the preamps, just the noise that they're creating. And if you record something too quiet in there, you're going to get that in the background. It's like the Big Bang of audio. It's just always all this background radiation.
It's always there.
Wow, we're carrying on a lot here.
Yeah.
But we did kind of want to talk about we watched a movie.
Oh yeah.
A short one.
Yeah, we didn't have a ton of time, so we were a little worried about devoting 2+ hours to a film. So we went with a short.
Yes.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Yeah.
Which is available on YouTube.
And
and people have probably seen that.
We thought we'd watch that to inspire our post-production process because that is, one, a very low-budget film. Two, it's also a musical.
Yeah.
And they did things a lot differently than we did.
Yeah.
Which they didn't do a lot of ambient sound effects like we ended up adding with Foley into ours. However, what they did was they made a specific decision on when they were singing and doing music, and then when they were going into live action.
Yeah.
And so ours was totally different. There was no real way to get live sound while people were lip syncing to the tracks, because it would just be a jumble of noise.
Well, and they needed to actually sing. We've covered that too. You can't, if you're recording somebody on like film, if you're filming somebody as they lip sync, you can kind of tell a little bit.
For sure.
So it's a little bit nicer if they're actually singing. Even if they're not belting full out or anything, they need to at least kind of mark it, just so that way the tension in the body and the breathing all kind of line up.
Yeah. The only way I could think of that I would be able to do that live as a location sound recordist would be to get them some sort of earpiece that's off camera. And then you could get their singing as well as their movements.
Oh, that's fair.
All at once, and then sync that with the track.
And hope that nobody can see that earpiece.
Yeah.
Or make it a part of their costume.
Or if you're really good at After Effects, you put a green earpiece in their ear and then make the earpiece disappear in post.
Yeah, I will not do that. I will not do that. I love that we went into this movie saying, don't worry, we'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post. And it took a lot of hours to do that.
Yeah.
But you handled most of that, so thank you.
I don't know if I'm going to recover mentally for a while, but yeah, I see a lot of pixels in my sleep, and every time I blink.
8-bit dreams. 8-bit dreams.
8-bit dreams.
All right, should we talk about our featured filmmaker of the week real quickly?
I would love that. Who do we have this week?
This week's featured filmmaker of the week is Darrell Miller. He's hailing from Indianapolis, Indiana. Darrell is a hip hop artist and filmmaker who wants to stop the stigma about mental illness. I'm going to let you take it from here, Victoria, because I think I wrote myself a tongue twister when I typed this up.
I think you did. Nice job. Okay, so Darrell, the hip hop artist and filmmaker, is looking to stop the stigma about mental illness by supporting mental illness programs and also talking about it in his art. So far, he's written and directed 2 projects titled The Boy in the Darkness and A Traumatic Story Part 1. His next film project is a superheroes web series called Paragenex, which sounds delightful. Yeah. So I'm very excited for that.
I watched a couple clips of it, and it looked pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Well, then we know what we're watching next, because if you don't like Marvel heroes, maybe you'll like some indie heroes.
Anything besides Marvel or DC would be good for me. I'd appreciate it.
But if you would like to be our featured filmmaker of the week, make sure you head over to indiefilmpodcast.com/submit. There you can see a little button that says become the featured filmmaker. Or if you follow us on social, just click the link in our bio and just go straight to the become a featured filmmaker.
There it is. And we will read a little bit about you, or if you pre-record a message, we would be happy to share that. And then just also make sure that you include some assets, maybe some screener links or things like that we can flash up on the screen for anybody that's watching the podcast.
Because we want to show off your work, because indie filmmakers are cool and they're doing really awesome stuff right now. And Hollywood's at a complete standstill right now. So
exactly.
No, I'm kidding.
We got the edge on creativity, I feel like. So anything else you'd like to add, or shall we succinctly say farewell?
I think we'll try to get those words out.
Good. Succinctly, goodbye.
Bye.